One of the things that I think so many of us entrepreneurs forget to acknowledge in our lives is that we need emotional resilience. And emotional resilience is what takes us from one level to the next. Now, when I talk about this, I'm not talking about just basically figuring out a way to stop crying over things or avoiding emotions that are inevitably there. That's what makes us human. But what I'm talking about is how we handle things that are going to come up in the normal pace of business. Running a studio shouldn't require superhuman powers, but here you are, therapist, bookkeeper, janitor, and occasional dance teacher. If you're tired of wearing all the hats and still feeling like you're falling behind, this is the podcast for you. I'm Ginger Heathcox, and this is Life Coaching for Dance Studio Owners. Let's cut the chaos, quiet the guilt, and build a business that actually works for you. So, today I want to talk about emotional resilience. I've been talking to a bunch of people recently in my coaching program, and the thing that seems to emerge when they are working with me is they're realizing that things that used to bother them so much are no longer having that same impact. What happens is as we grow, as we change professionally and personally, we're able to handle things in a different way. And when that happens, I'm calling it emotional resilience. So, for example, you have a student drops and your heart drops at the same time. You feel this twinge of pain, this ooh, that's a student that I really love and care about. That's the money that is my income, and so we can emotionally spiral on that wave, and we get ourselves into a place where we could feel starting to feel like depressed and really upset about it. We might find ourselves saying things, maybe inappropriate things, or over analyzing why the student dropped or what they're feeling or what their mom was thinking about or doing or any other thing that you can think of, right? And when you get to a place when you can hear that news, process it, and say, I wish you well. We're here when you're ready to come back. And then you see that person in the grocery store and you're like, hey, sweetie, how are you? I hope you're enjoying, I don't know, soccer or whatever it is. That's a next level. That's the next level of yourself personally, in that emotional resilience. You're able to take these waves that are going to happen naturally, they're going to happen, and you can move forward more quickly. You see, where on one hand you might ruminate on this for like 2 weeks, like, why did she leave? How could she do this? I've known her since she's three. That will delay and distract you from the work that actually needs to be done, the students that are actually still with you. And when instead you can love them through their leaving, you're able to say, all right, and then you can move on to the next thing in the next hour, the next day. Take a moment of silence if you need to, because you care so deeply for this student. But when you do that, that's the growth that it takes. I heard something recently from Layla Hormozy, and she said that life or business, it doesn't get easier with time. It's not that when you become rich or have multiple companies and all this revenue, it's not that things get easier. It's that you get better at handling the hard things. You see, it's emotional resilience that is essential for personal growth and to sustainably grow or scale a business. How else are you going to ride the waves of losing hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on a mistake you made? How else are you going to withstand that employee leaving your company and trying to take students? How else can you withstand the pain of a fire, a flood, or a pandemic that hits your business so hard? You see, there's a lot of capacity inside of each of us, right? We are capable of so much. I know this to be true because how many studio owners are parents? You knew what you knew, you had what you had, you lived the life that you had. You knew what love was, you knew what it was like to care for another person, and then you have a child and your capacity for love expands. Your capacity to care and want the best for another person expands. You see, our capacity is even greater than we realize, and we don't realize our capacity until we get the tests and the trials of this life. When you have problems, it's a test and a trial of life. Now, you can face these things and they can emotionally take you down, knock you out, or make you feel like you can't go on or you want to give up. But my friends, what's going to get you through and to the next level is your emotional resilience to these things, accepting that life is not going to be perfect. When I was in the life coach school, one of the things that they said was that life is 50-50. That means there's never going to be a point where you're going to be 100% happy 100% of the time, 24/7, 365. Instead, half of your time, you will have times of pain, misery, sadness, um, anxiety. And you will also have times of great joy, of peace, of contentment. And when we recognize that, we know that every day is not going to be sunny. We know that every day is not going to be cloudy. When I want to talk about this, I want to remind people that a measure of your emotional resilience is how long it takes you to recover from something. Now, some people need to work with a therapist, right? Some people need to pray and meditate and talk to, their priest or rabbi. And that is a way to help you cope with the things that are happening in life. And in some cases, those things are beyond the normal day to day ups and downs. If you are in that position, I urge you to seek the professional support that you do need because not everything is as cut and dry as working on your emotions, right? If you need to work with a therapist, please do so, especially if you've experienced traumatic events. What I'm talking about now is how we as entrepreneurs can frame what we are experiencing. You see, one person might say, "Oh my gosh, I have this huge tax bill. I can't believe all this money I owe. What has gone wrong?" But what if it's that you got that tax bill because you had massive growth in your company and revenue? You made more money than you even knew that you were going to make. And so that is a function of percentages, my friends. Maybe it's just hey, we made way more money and we need to plan better for next year so that we can ride this wave out. Instead of saying, okay, how can I quick, I want to retroactively post some receipts or something to lower this tax thing. Like what are we doing to water down, which is things that are actually like success measures? If we have um, increase in our payroll, so many of us have this knee jerk reaction like, oh my gosh, this is costing way too much. I can't take a raise. Why do I have all these staff? They just cost me all this money. I'll just do it myself. I won't hire that office person. But isn't the reason why you had staff because you needed other people in your business to grow and scale? Isn't the reason you have staff and your payroll cost has gone up because you have people who are doing jobs, some of them even better than you? They're doing jobs that enable you to focus on the business, that enable you to not have to teach 21 hours a week. And so when we do this, we have to tell our brains, we have to kind of refocus things. It's not about, oh my gosh, I need to get rid of my staff. Maybe we need to go back and look at our numbers. What does it actually look like? One of my favorite reports in QuickBooks, actually, I love telling people this. You can look at your expenses as a percentage of your revenue. And when you look at it that way, you can look at your payroll as a percentage of your revenue, and not just the numbers, not just the thousands of dollars or whatever. And it really helps you to level check where you're at with your payroll. And you can work with your accountant to kind of figure out where you need to be, that target area of can you take a pay increase? Can you, um, change things up? Maybe you need to hire someone or bring on a part timer. So making sure that you do that to temper all those feelings and knee jerk reactions to, oh my gosh, my payroll is so high. And so when we talk about emotional resilience, we look at, okay, how do I cope with this? We still might have that knee jerk reaction of, oh my gosh, um, or dang, that makes me feel so sad, or oh, I wish she wouldn't have done that. But what comes after is where our emotional maturity comes and shows its head. That's where it shows how we choose to cope with it, how we choose to move on from that. If we are thinking that everybody is out to get us, then we are going to emotionally react negatively. If we think that everybody wants to go on vacation and buy fancy bags but not pay their tuition bill, then we're putting the blame on someone else and not reacting well emotionally to it. Sometimes in that case, it's a matter of looking inward and saying, what did I do to ensure that these people pay their bill? What did I do to have my staff reach out and remind them? What did I do to set up auto pay? What did I do in my processes that allowed people to think that it was okay to come to class without paying the bill? What happens is, I say this to people, and we have to remember as the business owner that it's our responsibility to kind of manage these different things that happen. And when we stop putting the blame on other people and instead look inward and say, this is my fault. Why aren't these people paying their bill? Or why are these people dropping classes? Why are these things happening? When we do that, it's not about making ourselves feel like crap. It's about being empowered. You see, emotional resilience takes it from this thing happened and I feel terrible to this thing's happened. It's got something to do with me and a decision I've made, or it's my fault, or whatever you want to say. And the next step is that you are empowered. You are in control and empowered to change your systems, your processes, your reactions, your whole method, your staffing, everything. You have the power to change those things. And when you realize that you have the power to change those things, you're more likely to do those things and change them, which in turn improves your business, helps you scale and grow personally and professionally, and have a more sustainable business. You see, emotional resilience is what we all need, what we all should be working on, because it will help us to feel better, to work better with other people, and to grow our business. I wish you all the best today, and I would be remiss if I did not mention my coaching program. I love working with studio owners, and I am launching my group coaching program this spring. And I cannot wait to work with you all. If you'd like to see what my current offerings are, you can visit gingerhaithcox.com/coaching, look at what our current offers are, and I will talk to you again next week. Take care.